What's up, guys? I'm not using my flip right now because this video is probably going to be a little long, and if I record for a long time with this little thingy, really hot, and then it just stops. So I don't want to do that because I start recording with this and then I end up recording with my webcam anyways, because this thing won't turn on anymore until it like cools down, and that who knows when that will be. It's actually pretty late right now. It's 10:30 already and I'm barely filming this. We had my cousin was over all day and I couldn't film, so I was just like I filmed the N7 report, but I couldn't film Mass Effect Talks until now, so that kind of sucks. I really hope I could get this out soon because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow. But anyways, this Mass Effect Talks is going to be about the Insectoid species. So the species that I'm going to focus on right now, I'm probably going to split this up into 3 videos because there's not too much information on each. But it's going to be on the Rachni, the Keepers, and the Collectors. I'm going to start with the Rachni, and I'm just going to jump right into this so that I could at least try to get one part up. So yeah, let's start talking about the Rachni. The Rachni are technically an extinct race. And I mean, you might be like, they're not extinct, they were in Mass Effect 1. The actual race is gone, like they wiped them out. The Krogans wiped them out during the Rachni Wars. The way that the Queen was the Queen that you see in Mass Effect 1, the way that the Queen survived, or the way that she's even there, a group called Binary Helix, which is the group that you find or you encounter in Novaria in Mass Effect 1, in the place called Peak 15, the facility. You encounter all these Rachni and then the Rachni Queen. And the way that the Rachni Queen ended up there was that Binary Helix had found a Rachni ship, just, floating in space. And what they found in the ship were eggs in cryogenic suspension. So out of these eggs, only one was recovered, and what they had in mind was that they were going to clone the Rachni so that they could make a Rachni army. But once the egg hatched, they realized that it was a queen, and they were like, once the queen reached maturity, she started to lay eggs, but Binary Helix took these eggs away from her. They just took them all away. They didn't leave any with her. So when the eggs hatched, they hatched pretty much alone without their mother. When you separate a young Rachni, a baby Rachni, from its elder, it doesn't receive the song that the elder is going to sing to the Rachni. So the Rachni go crazy because they're in silence, because they're not hearing a song of an elder. And that's one of the reasons why Binary Helix separated the baby Rachni, the eggs, because they wanted to control them. So pretty much what this song does, that the Rachni sing to the younger Rachni, is that it soothes them. It soothes them and it comforts them. So without the song, they're really agitated because they're living in silence. And that's why if they ever encounter anybody, they just attack them out of fear because they don't know what's going on. And that's when the Queen tells Shepard that she believes that these Rachni are pretty much beyond help. Like you can't help them anymore. So she pretty much asks Shepard to euthanize them, to put them out of the misery. And then the Queen asks Shepard, "What are you gonna do to me? You could pretty much kill her, or you could let her go." And that's one of the big decisions in Mass Effect 1. The interesting thing about Rachni is that they have what's called a hive mind. So they're similar to the Geth, where they're not really individuals. They kind of function in groups, and their consciousness is like all connected with each other. So, and this actually spans generations. Like, the really cool thing is that the queen says, she tells Shepard that she has memories of the war, the Rachni Wars, and she wasn't even alive. I mean, she was an egg. We were only an egg hearing mother cry in our dreams. The consciousness of previous generations, they stay in the consciousness of all Rachni within the generation. So they don't just know about their history, they actually have it as a memory in their mind. At this point, the queen says that she doesn't know what happened during the Rachni Wars. She says, I don't know what that was all about. She just has memories of it. So she's like, I don't know why, this happened, why the Rachni Wars happened. But she says, but I promise you, if you let me go, we won't attack anybody, because she's going to restart the Rachni race. She says that she's not going to hurt anybody, that none of the Rachni are going to hurt anybody, and that she's going to sing the song to let her children know about Shepard's forgiveness, that he let her go and all that. And so Shepard would then be considered as, a hero to the Rachni. The Rachni are very territorial, and can be very aggressive. But for them to start this huge war and pretty much attack all council races, as hard as they did, she was just like I don't know. So in Mass Effect 2, if you let the Rachni live, if you let the queen go, you meet an Asari on Ilium, and she's like, she represents the queen, something like that. Like she has spoken to the queen, and she I don't remember exactly, but I think she's like a representative or something like that for the queen. Since the Rachni can't really go to places, so she sends this Asari. And the Asari sees Shepard, and she's like, oh, I have a message. And she starts telling Shepard, it's kind of like the queen is using the Asari to communicate with Shepard. And that's when the Rachni queen tells Shepard that she thinks Shepard is fighting the enemy that was controlling the Rachni during the Rachni Wars, which are the Reapers. So it turns out that the Rachni were almost 100% indoctrinated by the Reapers during the Rachni Wars, and that's why they were so aggressive, and so the way that things happened during the Rachni Wars. And she promises that if he ever needed the Rachni, that the Rachni would come and aid him in trying to defeat the Reapers. So that's the whole story with the Rachni Queen in Mass Effect 1. But every Rachni that you encounter, at least the ones that you encountered like in Cerberus bases, those were actually clones. Cerberus cloned the Rachni. And in one facility, one of the ladies leaves a log, one of the Cerberus agents, she leaves a log, and she says that they were treating the Rachni as animals. And she says we shouldn't have treated them as animals. We shouldn't have considered them as being animals. We should have considered them as being POWs, because the Rachni might seem like they're just insects, these big insects, but they're actually really smart. They're for her to say we should have treated them like POWs. She leaves a message to Cerberus saying we should focus our attention in a different project, saying don't screw with the Rachni anymore, because they pretty much wiped out that whole team. So what happened in the Rachni Wars was, or the way that they started, a long time ago. It says 1 CE. So this is a long time ago. I mean, this is way before the humans even joined the Citadel, or Council Space. This is even before the Turians joined the Citadel, the Council Space. They activated a mass relay. They had no idea where it led. It was a primary mass relay. So it led to one other partner relay in a like far away from where they were, light years away. And where it led to was Rachni space. And when they arrived there, the Rachni went nuts. Like they were very aggressive, very hostile, and the wars broke out. Now this was in 1 CE. Not until 80 CE did the Solarians get the help of the Krogans. So it seems like they were in this war for a long time. Not until the Krogans finally fought against, or the Solarians got the Krogans and told them, you know what, we will help you out with your crazy planet that you guys are dying on. We'll give you another planet where you guys can totally, like, live and make little houses and make Krogan babies if you guys help us out. And the Krogan were like, for sure. The reason why the council, or the council species at that time, couldn't win the war, couldn't stop the Rachni, was because in order to stop the Rachni, they had to kill the queens, the Rachni queens. And the Rachni queens were on the Rachni homeworld, and nobody out of the council races could survive on the Rachni homeworld, because the Rachni can survive in harsh environments. And the Rachni homeworld is a very harsh environment where no other species could survive in. So they were like, we can't even get to the queens. They were like, there's no way for us to defeat these guys. So that's why they got the Krogans, because the Krogans could survive in harsh environments. Because their planet, Tuchanka, was, it's a radioactive, harsh environment. So that's why the Krogan were able to destroy and obliterate the Rachni, because they were able to go on the Rachni homeworld and kill the queens. So the Rachni were pretty much declared extinct by 300 CE. Also in Mass Effect 1, an interesting thing that always caught my attention, that I always really thought was pretty cool, was the Mu Relay. The Mu Relay is in Rachni space, and it's the only relay that actually connects to the Pangaea expanse. And this is where the Prothean colony of Ilos is. So Saren needed to know where the Mu Relay was, because he needed to get to Ilos. It was the only way to get to Ilos. This relay was lost 4,000 years ago. The reason why it was lost was because it was pushed deep out into space by a supernova. And it wasn't destroyed because, like I said in my Mass Relay Mass Effect talks, mass relays are very strong. It's hard to destroy one. Not even a supernova will destroy it. So the supernova pushed the mass relay way out there in space. It got lost, and nobody could track it. Nobody could find it because it was pretty much covered in hot gas and dust. So it was nobody could see it. It was like, where the hell is it? It was almost like a nebula around the mass relay. So it ended up in Rachni space, like I said. The Rachni looked for this relay for a long time as well. And they were looking for it not to get to Ilos, but to, like I said, the Rachni are very territorial. They want to stop any ways of any race entering Rachni space. So as long as there's a relay there, that means that somebody could come in. Like if anybody's on Ilos, they could come into Rachni space. So they wanted to find a Mu Relay to just, put an end to it, because they didn't want anybody else to get into their space. Since the Rachni are a spacefaring species, they are a pretty large spacefaring species, or at least they were. They finally found the Mu Relay. But when the Krogan wiped out the Rachni, nobody ever found out where the Mu Relay was. The Rachni took the location of the Mu Relay with them to the grave. So they were like, it's lost. There's no way to find it now. But with the Queen in Mass Effect 1, Saren Since the queen has memories of previous generations, Saren tells Benezia to try to find that information in the queen, and she does. Benezia finds the location of the Mu Relay. She tells Saren, and then she tells Shepard, and that's how you get to Ilos. So I was reading that after 2,000 years of shifting politics and territories, the Mu Relay is now considered to be in the terminus systems. So that's why the council, the Citadel Council, doesn't send their fleets to Ilos, because it could pretty much start a war. It's in the terminus systems, and with the Rachni back, it's just like the only alliance ship that has been able to pass through the Mu Relay without being detected has been the Normandy, because of its advanced stealth systems. One thing that I find kind of interesting about the Rachni is, I think either way, if you destroy the Rachni Queen, or if you don't, obviously the Rachni are going to be back in Mass Effect 3 and they're going to help you. But if you do, I'm pretty sure that the Rachni are going to be there anyways. Now, maybe you won't get their help. They're probably not going to help you. They're just going to be, indoctrinated by the Reapers. Because there are Rachni husks. I believe they're called Ravagers. I can't remember, but I don't really want to go and search, but I think that's what they're called. They're on the main Mass Effect website. I don't think BioWare would only make them particular to those people that saved the Rachni. Because if, say, you were to kill the Queen, if you remember back in Mass Effect 1 or Mass Effect 2, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Mass Effect 2. You hear in one of the advertisements that and this is if the Rachni Queen was destroyed, that the Rachni are effectively, and this is if the Rachni Queen was destroyed. This means that the Rachni are extinct. There's a news report that explains that a Rachni cloning facility was found on Noveria, but that some samples show that that any Rachni that have been tried that they have tried to clone has been unsuccessful. But I mean, they might use that. They might use that whole that's they probably put that out there just in case, where it's like, okay, for those people that didn't save the Queen, that they killed the Queen, will say the Rachni in Mass Effect 3 are clones. They're from Noveria. They're just not going to help you. So like I said before, the Rachni achieved space flight. They achieved space flight, and they also achieved a form of the cryogenic suspension that they found on the Rachni ship. They developed weapons, and they pretty much had a huge piece of galactic territory. So they were a strong race back when before the Rachni Wars, during the Rachni Wars also, which is kind of surprising when you look at them. Like it says that a lot of people underestimate them because they think they're just stupid animals, but they're not. They're like any other. They call them intelligent sentient species. So the Rachni Hive mind, the queens are the leaders of the Rachni Hive mind. So that means it's almost like all Rachnis have a little comm, like a comm link, where the Rachni Queen is giving them orders, and they all obey. But there's no comm with the Rachni. It's just like this connected consciousness where they could hear each mind of the Rachni. They're not individuals. They're groups, and that's what makes them the most dangerous, because if you can't get to the Queen, you're not going to end the Rachni. Probably the most interesting thing about the Rachni, in my opinion, is the way that they communicate, their speech, that they sing to each other. They regard speech and thought as a form of music, and you could notice this in the strange metaphors that the Queen mentions in Mass Effect 1. Like, she says these things that you're just like, it's almost like she's speaking in song, like a poetry of some sort. She says things like, "Song's the color of oily shadow, and when we speak, one moves all." For example, the Rachni speak of death as the Great Silence, and referred to their homeworld as the Singing Planet. I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but in Mass Effect 1, there are multiple times where you could hear the Rachni singing. This was super awesome. I mean, it was pretty creepy at first. I was like, I mean, that's one thing that I really miss about Mass Effect 1. Where I found it, where I heard it, and I found a video of it, so I'm going to put the link in the description. If you haven't heard this, if you haven't heard the Rachni singing, I'd recommend go watch that video, because it's very, very cool. I heard it on Luna, the Earth moon. And I was reading that there's really no reason why you should hear Rachni singing on Luna. It was like, yeah, well, who knows why, but whatever, you could hear them. You could hear them also on, I'll put the names of some of the planets that you could hear them in, in Mass Effect 1. But on Luna, you drive out with the Mako in a certain spot, and if you get out of the Mako and you're just walking around, you hear a weird sound. Like, it's just like, what was that? And I thought something was going to come out and eat me. But it's the Rachni singing, and I thought that was freaking brilliant. I love that they did that. That I was like, wow, that's so cool. So that's pretty much it for the Rachni. I found them fascinating. I'm so glad that they're coming back in Mass Effect 3. I did let the Queen live, so I'm really looking forward to, seeing what happens in Mass Effect 3. In one of the trailers, I forgot which one it was, I think 2 of the trailers, you could see the Rachni Queen, and Shepard's like talking to her or something like that. He's like looking up at her, and she's like all huge. It's like, what? I think it's all going to be all good and nice, but I think some of the Rachni are going to be indoctrinated, which is kind of sad. It's like, So yeah, that was Rachni. I'm going to end it here. And then next are the Keepers.